All right, let's model the motion of an object using velocity versus time graphs. What is it? Here's a velocity versus time graph. The y-axis, this tells you about the object's velocity, which is how fast it's going, and the units are meters per second. Those are the units for the variable velocity. The x-axis is time measured in seconds. Seconds are the unit for the variable time. A negative velocity means the object is moving in the negative direction. Here's what I mean. If you ever see information down here in this negative range down below, that means the object is either moving to the left or down. That's what we say is the negative direction in physics. So if you have a line like this, moving to the left. If you have a line like this, we're moving to the right because these are all positive and these are all negative. Okay. So we have an object, a car, moving to the left, and look at those dots. That thing is speeding up to the left. So what is its velocity versus time graph going to look like? It's going to look like this. How do we know? Well, we know we're moving to the left because we got to be in the negative range. We got to be down below. And the object is speeding up, so we have to move away from the origin. Why? Because the origin here is 0 meters per second. That's not moving. That's completely still. Down here, we're at around 4 meters per second. Now, I know what you're thinking. It's a -4. Wait, doesn't that mean slower? No, -4 is not slower. We're going 4 meters per second. We're just moving to the left. That's what that negative is for. So I want you to think about magnitude. -5 as a number in physics, that's greater than +3. So think about it, like what's faster, 5 miles per hour or 3 miles per hour? 5 miles per hour. That negative just means to the left or down. That's physics for you. Okay, take a look at these graphs. These are a good one to just kind of take in as a whole. They tell you a lot of information. If you see up here at the top, we have moving in the positive direction. We're all in the positive range. So that's either to the right or up, to the left or down. And then these show moving away from the origin, so speeding up. And these graphs are showing slowing down because we're moving towards the origin. So that's what slowing down looks like on a velocity versus time graph. This is what no change in velocity looks like. That's constant. It's still moving. It's chugging along. The object's chugging along at 3 meters per second to the right or up, but we have a flat line. The velocity is not changing. It's moving constant. Okay, the velocity versus time graph shows the acceleration. And let's recall, acceleration, that's the amount of speeding up or slowing down. That's what acceleration is. It's the rate or the amount that the velocity changes. Any rise and fall on the y-axis will indicate a change in velocity. So here's where we're going with this. The slope of a velocity versus time graph is the acceleration. That's why physicists love velocity versus time graphs, because not only do you get to see the velocity at each moment in time, but you can actually measure the acceleration of an object, how fast it's speeding up by. So this is how you do it. You find the rise of the graph. In this case, our graph is changing by negative, I'm making a little triangle there, -2 meters per second. So we're speeding up by 2 meters per second. And the run, that's our change in time. The run is the change in time, and that's 4 seconds. So in 4 seconds, we've sped up by 2 meters per second in the negative direction. You calculate your slope, rise divided by run. It's the same as the change in velocity divided by the change in time. Plug them in, and you end up with -0.5 meters per second. And that's your acceleration. What does that mean? Simply that means that this object is changing its speed by 0.5 meters per second. It's changing its velocity by 0.5 meters per second. And it's doing that every second. So a second goes by, and now it's going 1.0 meters per second. Another second goes by, and now it's going 1.5 meters per second. Another second goes by, and now it's sped up. It's now going 2 meters per second. So we're increasing our velocity. But remember, it's increasing our velocity in the negative direction or to the left or down. That's what acceleration is. That's the most important thing about velocity versus time graphs.